Yeah, you are always going to find the homeowner who becomes a professional cleaner who we need to re-educate. That's what keeps us in business for 80 years. But when we look at our accounts that we're partnered up with and have been for a long period of time, that is exactly the education that they ask for and that we give to them.
Welcome, everyone. This is another episode of Talking Clean in a Dirty World. You know, if you're in the cleaning industry, this show is definitely for you. Now, making his first appearance on our show today is going to be Allan Langer. Good afternoon, Allan.
Hey, Dave. How are you? Great to be here.
Allan is going to be our keynote speaker at the Cleaning Festivals and Rockstar Talks on March the 9th in Tampa, Florida. We'll get more about Allan and the 7 secrets that he's got up here. Geez, always nice to start the show with secrets. Anyway, our next speaker that's going to join us is Mr. Don Tracy. Don is a consultant for Gym Supply. Welcome to the show, Don.
Thanks for having me.
Good. Glad to hear that your voice and everything's working, right?
Barely, but yes, I'm here.
Next, we have Javier Cuarta. He is the co-owner of Modern Cleaning Solutions in Tampa Bay, Florida. Good afternoon, Javier.
Good afternoon, Dave, everybody. Thanks for having me again.
I want to make sure that we got that right at the start so your wife didn't give me any problems. Or,
No, you got it. You got it. You nailed it on the head.
Yeah, right. I know how to keep on the good side of that equation, right?
Yeah.
And last on our guest is Bobby Zagers. He's the VP of Sales and Marketing at Gym Supply. Welcome, Bobby.
Thank you. Thanks, Dave.
And of course, you might know who I am. And if you don't, I'm Dave Thompson. I'm your host today, and also the director of the Academy of Cleaning Excellence. I saw this also: clean schools and engage students. 5 ways to clean that your cleaning team can help. And I'm looking at this going, okay, so we're talking cleaning, we're talking, that dirty world, and we're talking about how to keep things clean. But it says here, surroundings like high touch points need to be disinfected prior to their exposure. Have we understood, folks, yet that it's cleaning and disinfection? Or, I mean, you guys are out there with the schools.
Yeah, I think it's pretty well known in the school districts that we're dealing with that they're cleaning then disinfecting. I mean, I think that's one of the beauties of what's gone on is the amount of education that's happened in the last 3 years. The difference between the disinfecting, sanitizing, cleaning, and disinfecting. We've hit that pretty well in the schools that we deal with and our customer base. Javier, I mean, I'm sure you guys had that going way before that anyways.
Oh, yeah, for sure, Bobby. But it's another thing, though. I mean, I have come across, and we do have a couple of daycares that are our clients, but there's, shockingly, you still run into some people, though, and some owners of these daycares that really don't know the difference, and they don't really, they're intrigued by giving them the explanation of what, the difference is, obviously the differences between cleaning, disinfecting, and sanitizing. But there's some people that just still don't know the difference. They're like, well, I just thought cleaning was cleaning. I'm like, no, it's not. Yeah. But it's good to educate people, to let them know. It's surprising there's a big number of folks out there that don't know.
I think that was the point, and Javier, you picked up on it, is that although this is talking about a school, we're talking about children in both of these cases, and we're still talking about the mothers and the parents. And then, even like Allan, who said he just flew, then you're dealing with that because, last time I traveled, there was a whole bunch of kids on that plane.
Little petri dishes with legs.
Okay, so I want to go back to this for a moment, gentlemen, because it says more learning time. And now I like this one down here that says clean air. It says 1 in 10 children have asthma, indoor dust, and chemical cleaners are asthma triggers. I think this is important that people know that these things are what's causing some of the problems. It's the asthma triggers that are creating, 1 in 10 children, I think it's 1 in 13 adults you get those people that we're surrounding ourselves with.
Yeah.
What's your question?
I'm just opening the discussion. That's all. There is no question here, Don, unless you want me to pose one.
No, I can get all over this because this has been going on for 20 years. It's nothing new. I mean, the COVID scare and all that brought everything to the limelight in our industry, and everybody finally paid attention to what we've been preaching forever. But to this day, I walk into some folks to locations, and they've hired somebody to go in. So we go in and do a little training, and that person comes from a home life. You know, they were a homemaker or whatever. And they don't have any professional experience in our industry. And what do? They want to clean with bleach. They want to clean with this. They don't know why. A lot of it's just consumerism. They are brainwashed every night on TV. I watch the ads. There's Lysol ads on there. Spray and wipe, you're fine. It'll kill everything. And they've never, well, they're not never, but they just are not taught on a regular basis. You got to clean the surface, and then you got to disinfect it. As an industry, we didn't do that. And it's still going on today. We can talk about it all we want in our industry, but we're a little niche market that doesn't attack all of the rest of the market out there. That market's being attacked by the big guns who sell Lysol and the spray wipes and all those things. That stuff is prevalent, and that's the way people imagine that you clean.
Right.
So we have to take that and reinvigorate it, you know, and reinvent it sometimes.
And to your point, Don, the thing is too is that Clorox and Lysol and these companies, Johnson and a few of the other ones that own them or whatever, these are iconic names that have been around for 100 years. So everybody associates cleaning something with these products. So it's really hard, like you said, it's really hard to think, to break people away from the philosophy or from thinking that, hey, nothing is going to get cleaned if it's not used Lysol or if I don't use Clorox bleach,
Yeah.
It's really hard to break
the names. They trust them because they use them in the house once a week.
Right, exactly.
When you start using it 8 hours a day on the job, it becomes a problem for you asthmatically and because of your breathing situation. You start spraying that stuff 8 hours a day, you will have a problem.
I think Alan's sitting there, and I'm thinking, he's got to be sitting here listening to this conversation about cleaning, going, "Oh my gosh, is this
well, you know what? I did want to say something. I can interject as the person that they're talking about, the consumer. When Don said that's what they think is clean, I was going to say, well, yeah, isn't it? Like that's what I use. I want, as a consumer buying stuff, and Bobby, the title marketing can probably attest to this. We just look at words. And when we say, kills 99.9% of bacteria, I'm going to buy that. That's all that I'm going on. I'm trusting that how many times did we find out when COVID came out that hand sanitizer actually wasn't sanitizing your hand because it had the benzo, whatever it was, instead of alcohol? So it's like a typical consumer looks at 2 or 3 words. That's it. That's going to save my house. And now my whole kitchen's clean. We don't know anything else. I don't know any better. I think when I buy a Clorox cleaner, my counter's clean, and you guys are telling me it's not. So now I'm grossed out. So
no, it's not that it's not clean.
Welcome to our world, Alan, and that's why we wanted to have you come on, because I think it's interesting here to get a perspective from a different viewpoint. We talk, and it's kind of like preaching to the choir here, but I kind of wanted you to kind of jump in here with things just like this.
Well, here's how I would look at it from your perspective. You guys are selling this type of cleaning to schools and to school boards and to the director of purchasing. Those are people that are just like me. We think that, okay, Clorox is the way to go. You have to educate me to tell me why my thinking is wrong, and that what you can provide is going to be better. That's how you have to approach it, because as a typical consumer, I don't know anything about your world. I just know that we have a budget and we have to get this school cleaned and we got to get it disinfected and sanitized. Tell me why that I can't buy a case of Clorox spray and have my janitors just do that. So those are the things that from a selling standpoint that I have to be re-educated as the person who's going to sign the check for you guys.
That fatal word, education, nobody has time for it, Alan.
Mm-hmm.
It can be if you get them interested enough in it, they'll have time for it. That's part of the sales conversation.
Yeah, and I truly, that's kind of pretty much what 2020, 2021, and 2022 were for us, because we were prepping people who were going in front of leadership of school systems, that were going in front of school boards, that needed to have that type of framework of knowledge that you just mentioned. And that's why it's all like, yeah, you are always going to find the homeowner who becomes a professional cleaner who we need to re-educate. That's what keeps us in business for 80 years. But when we look at our accounts that we're partnered up with and have been for a long period of time, that is exactly the education that they ask for and that we give to them.
Yeah.
But it is ongoing.
Absolutely ongoing. Because leadership changes.
Has to be.
Yeah. Leadership changes. You have to keep providing the information.
Javier, you've talked about this from time to time on our show here. You're the commercial cleaner here in this panel. So whenever you get outside of that school or that daycare, these are still the same people with the same issues. You know, as Allan mentioned, they might be on the school board, but they're not a professional in the cleaning world.
Right. And absolutely, that is something that we deal on a daily basis, because also we've got another thing to try to make other folks understand that are not in the industry. We're not only talking about that, but we're also a green cleaning company, which also now comes in the association of the green products and why use them versus the traditional products. So we've got two uphill battles. We've got the battle that, you know, we have to educate our client on the ills and the bad, or why not to use bleaches, why not to use Lysols, these types of issues, but also too to get them to understand from a green friendly perspective what you can use that will, you know, substitute those chemicals, but also, you know, have the same results scientifically as versus killing viruses and bacteria and all that sort of things. So yeah, for us, you know, absolutely, like Allan was saying, it's absolutely that is a thing that you never stop fighting. You know, in from a business perspective, you know, we always have to be educating our clients. I mean, it never stops. I'm doing it all the time. I did it this morning, as a matter of fact. Phone call I had. So yeah, it's challenging, but it is, you know, it's actually good in a way. I think it is, because it people feel better. Your would-be, you know, customer or client also feels better once they've been educated. Once they know, they say, oh man, I've been doing this wrong all these years, or I didn't know that all these years. So, you know, it really, you do make a breakthrough there.
You know, Allan, when you said that, you know, as a consumer, you just look at those three words, and if that is, then that's what you do. It reminds me of, you know, the sharks on the Shark Tank. You know, they go, okay, you're explaining it to me now, but if it's on the shelf, how does that person understand what to get? It's hard to educate somebody the difference with all this mass marketing that leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah, it's I mean, that's marketing 101 is just using the copywriting. Copywriting is such a powerful thing in marketing and labeling and packaging and all the stuff that is implied. I mean, I read articles all the time on how many things are implied on a package when it doesn't even have it, like organic. You know, you can use the word organic in 8% of your pack, all these different things that people just look at the one word. When if they actually read the small print, they'd realize, well, it's only 4% organic, but they use organic as the big headline, as an example. So it all comes down to words and what these companies try to get away with, because it's for most companies, it's just the bottom line. They just want to sell as much stuff as possible.
So folks, one of the things that we're talking about here is the upcoming festivals here that's going to be starting February the 23rd. We're going to start with the opening festival here in Orlando, Florida, where I'm broadcasting from right now. Like I said, Allan's going to be the guest speaker at Tampa on March the 9th. We're then moving over to Lakeland, Florida on March the 23rd, and we'll finish with April the 6th in Ocala, Florida. You know, you can go to the website, and let's see, we'll get that up here, scrolling along the bottom of the screen right now for you. You can go to that website. It is a reserved seat event at each one, but that seat is free. So be sure to sign up, come and watch Allan. We've got some other speakers that are lined up. And folks, if you want another different site, like we said, our sponsor here for our broadcast of Talking Clean in a Dirty World is with Gym Supply. And they've been improving lives with cleaning supplies, as it says, for a number of years. Bobby, I think since 1930, if I remember right.
Yeah, you're correct.
So make sure you go there. You can let's see if I get that address up here for you folks. There it is, gemsupply.net, gemsupply.net. Gentlemen, I thank you for your time today.